My beautiful stars. Reading time. Oh, this one's really nice. So we're going to do a divine check-in, and I'm hearing the soul development, growth, discovery that you have experienced since meeting each other is undeniable. So what we're going to do, and I find this a lot in our divine community, sometimes, especially because they're, communication, interaction is quite minimal when you're going through a divine separation. It's hard to see that the power of your transformation and moving forward with your healing journey, it's hard to really have belief if your person is going through the same, if you aren't witnessing that in the physical, right? And I always say a true divine connection, look at it like this, right? So say there's a timeline here, right? As you activate, you are both down below the timeline, right? When you're in a true divine connection, because you are connected to that magical red thread, right? Whoever activates first, you are ascending through your soul's growth, your soul discovery, and you hit that timeline, right? Now, as you're evolving and you're ascending, for a true soul connection, with every lesson, with every step of growth, with every movement forward through a cycle, breaking through the shadow, the layer, you are gradually pulling your person up to reach that timeline and reach the same level that you are on for a true soul connection, right? But when there is very sporadic communication and when there is still a lot of emotion tied, you aren't witnessing the growth and the soul discovery of your person, right? So a lot of you guys, because it's very blocked, you get to this stage where you think, gosh, I'm ascending, but they're not, because you're not witnessing it. But a true divine connection, every movement forward, every step up, every shackle you break, you are pulling them up with that red thread. And that is why I say you don't need to be in the same room. You don't need to be saying, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this, you need to do that, like karmic connections, always forcing change on your spouse, right? Anyone that is connected to you in life, even soul tie, whatever it is, but that red thread, if they are really your red thread, their frequency will start to change just like yours till you get into alignment and ready for your connection. Make sense? Now, this collective, there's a reason I say everything. I don't know if you still have not completely experienced or witnessed your person's soul growth. I actually feel this divine pairing I'm checking into extremely sporadic communication, right? And I feel, unfortunately, even till your last point of communication, so much emotion still tied. So even though you're learning lessons in every other area of your life, even though you're progressing and you're evolving, when it comes to your love connection, since your last point of communication, you still had a lot of the same lessons that you had not evolved from. So either interacting the same, wearing the mask, hiding your vulnerability, lack of transparency. So of course, every love lesson you've had, because yes, you've been evolving, but maybe more of a slower progress to the other things you're transforming, you are still witnessing kind of the same lack of evolution when it comes to love emotion. So because the right collective, everything I say is for a reason, every time there's been communication, the standpoint has been love and connection, not life experience, evolution in the day-to-day. All you've witnessed is the same frequency of block in love. Does that make sense? Because that was your focus. Every time you communicate, it's just about your love connection. You're not asking questions about life experience, development, where they are in life, So the right collective, you have not actually witnessed in the 3D how this person's been evolving in their day-to-day life. Make sense? Hopefully this makes sense. So what we're going to get into is I want to see how you both presented when meeting each other, right? I want to see how you've developed to this current day, and then I want to see what your current development is, why it's taking place for your future, what you're creating now for your future development, right? We will forever be growing, but there's a reason I'm getting called to do this. I think it's going to be very beneficial for this collective to understand you do not need someone in the same room as you to develop if they are connected to your soul. I always say they're about 6 to 9 months behind your journey. But when you're not seeing it in the physical, because we are in this human experience, sometimes it's really hard to hold on to the belief that they are changing, they are healing, they are developing. Okay, so this might be a beautiful clarity reading for you. It might help you, especially if you're losing a little bit of lack of faith in your development. You could be feeling a little bit stuck right now. There's a reason I'm being called to do this reading. So it's either to encourage you to keep going on the path that you're on, or maybe little tweaks here and there. Whatever the case, I'm hoping this gives the right collective a different perception and a clearer outlook on your healing journey. Okay, so let's get into it. I'm going to start with you, the person you were when you first met this person. Let's again go with the flow. They came out for a reason, but okay. Who were you, right collective, main collective, when meeting their divine person? Who were you before your soul discovery took place? Okay, so this is who you were. Ace of Cups in reverse, Two of Wands in reverse, Four of Coins in reverse, and then Eight of Wands. Straight off the bat, Ace of Cups in reverse is holding back. It's about repression. It's about lack of self-discovery, not trusting your intuition. But I have to say, to have an Ace of Cups as your first card, reverse or not, you've always had a depth of emotion. I think you've always been ruled by empathy. You could be one of those people, you watch a movie, you cry, or, you know, something happened. You always go for the underdog. Very emotional. I think maybe you were very emotional when you met this person, but unfortunately, I don't think your emotion had really been met in life. I'm not saying you hadn't had relationships, but I just don't think you were ever in connection, even from childhood, where that empathy and that vulnerability was met. So I think quite quickly from your teenage years, even though you had this depth of emotion within, you had learnt to shut down. So I think you were actually more of a detached lover when it came to relationships. I'm not saying you didn't have insecurities. I'm not saying you didn't have emotional ignition. I'm not saying you didn't, have reactions. But when it came to knowing about trauma, opening up about trauma, learning how to converse and have constructive conversations when it came to challenges in relationships, I think that was lacking. I think when you were faced with a challenge in relationships, it could become quite confronting, quite emotionally charged, maybe even sometimes quite volatile. I don't think you understood the depth of your emotion. So where in past connections, even with this person when you met them, something that could have been healed and guided in a constructive way to deepen bonds of love and foundation, it would come off in more of a reactive way because you had so much repressed internal emotion, right? I think when meeting this person, I don't want to say that you were reassessing. You could have been reassessing your life. You could have already started to really start discovering you wanted more, or whatever the case may be. But I don't think that you had defined your purpose. I don't think that you had activated whatsoever. Maybe you were on some form of spiritual path, but I don't think that you were someone that knew about emotional healing. I don't think you were someone that were the most self-aware person, okay? I think you were, if anything, maybe lacking a few goals in life. I think you were someone that this Eight of Wands is very rapid moving and very, sometimes it reminds me of a lot of impatience, thinking of something, wanting to solve it, anxious to please, needing all the answers, a lot of control in life, especially when it comes to movement and alignment. Okay, I think that you were someone that unfortunately, even though you had a lot of, you had actually started approaching love with, I don't want to say less is more, but there's a reason I was feeling you had more of a detached outlook on love. Not that you knew it in the time. I think you still felt the emotion that love would stir up. You still felt the intensity, but the way you presented, I'm going to be honest, the right collective, I feel you're a little bit more of a cold lover, if that makes sense. Okay. I don't think you, it's not that you didn't show your person that you loved them, but I feel you were kind of more of a no nonsense and would shut down quite quickly. Okay. When it came to communication, I actually think this was something that you were really struggling with. All right. The biggest thing I'm seeing here for the right collective, you've always had this depth of emotion. You could be a 7. I find 7s as a life path number. You are the most emotional number, believe it or not. But you guys really tend to hate conflict. You hate to create ripples around you. So you repress so much. You fight your intuition your whole life. 7 is the number of spiritual enlightenment. And I always say, if that is your destiny number, without finding and tapping into that purpose in life, you are always fighting your intuition. You become very over analytical, very over processing. You live more in the mind than you do in the external. Okay, so internally you always have this hurricane, but externally it doesn't present that way. And because 7s, you repress so much, especially because of your empathy, you can be very temperamental. You can repress, but when that button is pushed, it's kind of that explosive energy. That anxiety comes out, that anxious to please, that anxious to solve, this 8 of Wands. Okay. As meeting this person, I think you are on the verge of redefining your purpose, but I don't think you understood that in the moment. So when you met this person, don't make these details fit, there would have been something shifting. Even if you were in, let's say, the rat race, right? Even if you're in a 9-to-5, a good paying job, whatever it was, there was some kind of side hustle. And there's a reason I brought up 7. And if you're a divine, you would have started developing your spiritual path, right? Let it be you were starting to buy tarot. Let it be you were, watching a lot of tarot online. Let it be you were just starting to understand a bit more about universal magic. Whatever it was, even though I'm seeing you, it's like you were half in, half out. Does that make sense? But you were in the midst of redefining. You were in the midst of setting new goals, if you knew it or not in the time. So the right collective, whatever separation you went through just before your person entered, and I normally call that the karmic catalyst, the long-term one that just ends up, you walk, oh, I'll never do that again. This is when you start kind of opening up more. If you're calling in a divine energy, a twin flame energy, you are opening to the frequency of the universe, if you know it or not in that moment. So there would have been some kind of spiritual outlook you were starting to already develop before this person entered. Okay. But again, the self-awareness that you were in, the lack of self-acknowledgement, you didn't understand this at the time. Make sense? Yeah, so you're a Queen of Pentacles in reverse, not upright. So even though you were beautiful, and this is what when we're not self-aware does, I think you're a bit of a jealous person. You presented a little bit self-focused, so let it be in conflict. It was quite hard for you, especially, and I find this with people that repress. You repress so much, you self-sacrifice so much. Once that button was pushed, because remember, when we repress, we're not removing, we're not forgetting, we're becoming a kettle. We're on this constant simmer, and then the littlest thing someone around us makes us, that they do to make us feel misunderstood, undervalued, underappreciated, it's that button. And it comes up because we've self-sacrificed our emotions so much that we can present a little bit unyielding and stubborn, and we lack the empathy and understanding to the other person's emotion in the heat of a moment. I'm not saying this is who you were all the time, But when your armor came out through a trigger, you presented a little bit self-focused, and there was a lack of empathy and understanding in the moment, for your counterpart or the opposing party's emotion. After the fact, I think you felt a lot of guilt, and I think you felt a lot of remorse, and maybe that's where the anxious to please, the anxious to solve would come out. So you would react, and then I always say people deal with grievances differently. We have the yeller, the talker, the silencer. A lot of people can be very reactive and then expect forgiveness straight away. It's easier to do than undo. Remember that. And I think you were someone in the past, you would react and just expect that forgiveness and understanding of emotion because you got over emotion differently to other people. It's like I talk about how we overgeneralize and think people deal with triggers the same way as us. Sometimes when we're like this, someone else might need to hermit and really go within, especially if we've affected them, we've attacked their character. Moral evaluation, instead of talking about the source of the problem, we start to criticize them as a person. Does that make sense? People like that, some people can't deal with it. They feel belittled, so they shut down, right? I feel this collective wasn't intentional, but you had this kind of energy that you could be a little bit self-involved. You could put your foot in it a little bit, but expect that forgiveness straight away because that's what you offered people, right? So I think back then, and you could have had some manipulative tendencies. I always say when you're in an argument, like I was just explaining, and you're trying to persuade someone to understand you and your outlook, and you're talking and talking and talking, believe it or not, persuasion, it's a fine line to manipulation or actual manipulation. You would really, antagonize. You're having some form of disagreement or separation with past people, whatever it is, you would post raunchy things to make them jealous, or you'd play games. That's emotional manipulation, okay? But you just, possessiveness, you could have been very claiming, very possessive of spouses, of partners, but again, that comes from lack of worth, lack of internal knowing, lack of security, lack of self-respect, this Ace of Cups in reverse. I just think who you were when you met this person. I'm seeing someone beautiful, but I'm seeing someone that was very self-unaware, okay? And as well, there was a lot of imbalance in your life, emotionally, physically, whatever it may be. You weren't the most balanced when you first met this person, okay? Even maybe a little bit shallow. Maybe you were all about appearance. Maybe you always had to have your makeup on or your hair done, or you're looking good, or, it was that attention of others. When we struggle with insecurities, we really like to, be affirmed and validated by others and our appearance, okay? Maybe this was a bit of conflict in this connection. Maybe your person maybe really felt like sometimes you were purposely trying to get the attention of others. Only you will know, okay? But for the right collective, these were qualities in your soul that were actually holding you back, that had held you back your whole life. And I always say a true divine, they activate us into self-awareness and into the things that have been holding us back in life. That's what creates our awakening, okay? Last one. Yeah, you're impulsive. You would make decisions on impulse. I think you always led with passion, okay? I think you were someone that maybe even in relationships, I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to say you're a cheater, you're a player, but this is my excessive flirt, right? And again, it goes back to the attention of others. So you might not think that you're a flirty person, but there's a reason I'm saying everything. Maybe you really presented, again, that you were a bit of a flirt, you liked a bit of attention, and again, that comes from insecurities, but I do think you've always had this charming, magnetic glow. I think you've always kind of led with passion in life, which is beautiful, but when it comes to making decisions, we shouldn't make them from passion and impulse. else. And I think the right collective in the past, especially with this Eight of Wands, just wanting things to come in very quickly, wanting to rush the process, wanting to get to the final stop, you know, and this tends to happen a lot with relationships, the 0 to 100. You haven't even built a foundation, but you're talking about marriage and children and this and that before you've even really got to know each other. The reason I'm saying this, it's like you're trying to rush the end stop because it's like you want it locked in stone, right? This collective, maybe you stopped and started a lot of things in life, never really finished anything, always switching jobs every couple years, always moving every couple years. You would start a course, you wouldn't finish it. I just feel this collective, this was something that used to get you in trouble quite a little bit, but again, this is what this journey is for, to teach us what keeps our life on repeat. So again, we are going to get into current, but if you've noticed that you are now someone that you're not as impulsive, or you actually have stuck to a path, you're not switching and changing, or maybe you haven't moved for the past however many years, you're not as kind of in and out with certain aspects of your life, tick. You're not as eager to rush the process, tick. You've learned to have more compromise and understanding when in conflict, tick. You've jumped onto your life purpose, tick. You've learned how to express yourself in a vulnerable way, tick. Like, there's a reason I'm saying this. Do I think you've developed all of them? You probably still have a few blocks with some, but there's a reason I'm saying this for this collective, okay? You could have been quite rebellious as well. There's a reason I said when you felt misunderstood, another side of you would come out. Maybe you grew up really left from center, picked on at school, never really fit in, the black sheep of the family. I find that a lot with fours. You really walk to your own beat, and unfortunately, because you really do lose your voice as a young child trying to fit in, when you get to your adolescence, you guys become quite rebellious and quite defiant because you're starting to find your voice, and you have this programmed outlook in your mind that being told what to do is not good. It made me feel like this. Always trying to fit in and people please made me feel like this. You get a rebelliousness to you, okay? You definitely don't like rules and restrictions. It's like you can fall short to temptation or things that are forbidden because it's naughty, okay? Anyway, I want to get an animal card quickly. That was you as you met this person. All right, how were you? So you were this. So even through all of this, I think you've always been a happy. Sea otters just remind me of happiness and balance. I don't think I've ever actually read this. Let's read this one, and that reminds me of Libra as well. But Spirit was saying you were very shark. You had a lot of truths internally, but I don't think you knew it at that time. Here's the sea otter, one page over. Okay, so you were unobstructed joy, you were playful, matches that 9 of Wands. You felt content when you met this person. Perhaps the most joyful creature within the animal spirit deck, the otter represents absolute bliss. Otter energy is the playfulness of a child's available to us at any age. They have a giddiness, and so you've always had this little inner child within you, no matter what your age is. I think I don't want to say an immaturity, but you definitely had a childlike nature, okay? Maybe you were really attracted to this person's childlike nature. I find true divines, you bring out that lost inner child. So they have a giddiness and a reverence for life itself without the presence of doubt, worry, or skepticism. Imagine yourself with a little more otter energy. What would life be like? What would it take to bring you there? The otter card begs these questions and wants you to transport us into that precious place as soon as possible. Maybe you were lacking your otter energy. There's a reason I said maybe this person brought it out of you. And that could have been another reason there was such a strong bond here, because you finally found that otter energy again. If you were normally a and you would still be a happy-go-lucky person, but even in the past before your evolution, like you were just someone that would have a lighter outlook on things when you weren't triggered. Okay, so when you weren't triggered and you were just kind of, you know, going day by day in your sparkle, I think you were quite a childlike soul, which is beautiful. But when you were in balance, you would be full of love. And I leave that with that Ace of Cups. Even though it was reverse, I feel you've always had such a big love space, like a big heart space, but unfortunately life had really broken that heart space down and made you quite armored. And the sad thing is you didn't realize it in the time. You thought you loved hard, you thought you were this, but just the detachment I'm seeing after, you know, the trauma you had accumulated through life, what you felt you presented, you actually presented in another way. But when out of balance, gloomy, sighs, make silly excuses, maybe you procrastinated, like I said, you would stop and start a lot of things or excuse a lot of bad behavior. Let's get one more. I do believe that with this collective. Oh, you've had a hard life. Okay, you always had divine energy in you though. Buffalo, I feel this, right, collective, you've really had to support yourself maybe from a very young age. Maybe you started work at a very young age as well. Maybe you didn't finish schooling. Wouldn't surprise me. Maybe you dropped out of school at a very young age. I find a lot of spiritual people do as well, because the school curriculum, it doesn't resonate with our brain, because we know, even if we don't know in that moment, we know there's so much more to life. So things we're learning, it just doesn't sponge in. I always say spiritual mind, things that don't sponge, things that don't soak, you're not meant to know them. So you were grounded yet heavenly, practical yet spiritual. So I feel, like I said, you were drifting, but I don't think you had completely activated. I think you were still very stuck in the 3D plane and society's outlook and belief. Okay, the hooves of the mighty buffalo are grounded in the earth, yet its heart and mind rise towards our heavens. So you were still so stuck in this earthly plane, but remember I was saying it's like your mind was developing. You wanted to learn more. You were opening up to the frequency of divine light, okay, divine energy, universal energy. The buffalo sees challenges, hardships, or a bump in the road as an opportunity for upliftment. Not that you knew that at the time, but I think, again, you've grown up very persevering. The harder the challenge, the harder the conflict, the more I'm going to win, I'm going to win, if you know it or not. So you would have really been drawn to very frictional, toxic kind of either relationships, friendships, because the harder the challenge, this is what you grew up believing. Life was clearly challenging, it was clearly chaotic, and this is what you got comfortable around, okay? And this is just side note, I find a lot of divines, you actually have someone in this energy and someone not so much. So because you're so used to chaos and conflict and fighting and winning and going through challenges and whatever it may be, any little challenge that you faced with whoever your person was, it wasn't enough to deter you, especially if you had buffalo energy. You're a winner, right? So this journey was clearly to teach you that's beautiful, but to put the dedication into the things that make you happy, not overwhelmed. You needed to learn how to thrive in stability and use this direction for things that were going to make you truly stable, fulfilled, and did I just say stable? I just went blank. You needed to use this energy in the right direction. You had to learn to use that in buffalo strength in the right direction. The direction that would make you sparkle, where I think growing up you learnt to have this tenacity and perseverance in things that unfortunately made you unbalanced. But this would mean that you've always been a hard worker. No matter what job you've been in, you've excelled at, or you've, you know, jumped up the ladder quite quickly, or I just feel you're someone, because of your determination, even if it wasn't in the best areas of your life, you would go gung-ho, and then you would probably burn out quite quickly and then retract. Remember we said start, stop, because whatever you put your mind to, even if it wasn't fulfilling you, you would put everything into it. Okay, this journey was also to teach you, again, to direct that in the right area. for upliftment. Therefore the buffalo does not fear death, illness, or misfortune. None of that would deter you. Like I said, even in relationships, it's like the harder, the more conflict, the more challenges, the more you were like, yeah, if you knew it or not, subconsciously. It's gentle eyes look to the road ahead, trusting every turn. Maybe you didn't have the best judgment of people back then. Maybe you were someone, you would always give people the benefit of the doubt, and in turn it made you accumulate a lot of trust issues, and in turn through your years then you started becoming mistrusting, always looking for ulterior motives. Maybe growing up, that blind faith towards others, and again, not having the best judgment on people. You clearly had a lot of repeated mistakes and lessons in your life, let it be with people, jobs, decisions, movement, whatever it was. This energy, unfortunately, because you were out of balance, kept you quite stuck because you were directing it in the wrong way. May we all experience, sorry, I'm sweating. May we all experience the elusive yet life-changing bliss from this time to time. And may we allow this card to remind us that life is a precious gift. So maybe before this entered your life, your person, you didn't realize what a precious gift life was, and maybe you weren't, maybe you took things for granted. When in balance, trusting, pure presence. When out of balance, restless, lacks gratitude, lacks life appreciation. Okay. All right, I want to see what emotion you were bound to when you met this person. So what emotion was really holding you back? You weren't in your purpose. So you were wasting all of your talents in the wrong areas. And that is why your life was forever changing, because you were never on your path service. You weren't on your mission work. And it was a fixation for you, but you didn't even know it. It was subconscious. Your higher self was calling you at this point, and you didn't know. So if this person really started distracting you from work, and it was for a reason, it was all there. You thought your anxiety was probably coming from love or trauma in love. Your anxiety was coming from the pentacles that are around you. I see this a lot in personal readings. When I tap into you guys, especially when you're going through heart pain, you think all of your anxiety, your stress, worry and guilt is coming from a broken heart. No. 9 times out of 10 I read you, it's the pentacles around you, the lack of stability. Pentacles isn't just money. It could be moving. It could be where we are on our financial path, our family, our support, our friendships. When this is out of alignment, people don't realize this ungrounds us. And when you're bound to love trauma and subconscious programming, we think our pain in our heart is all because of a broken heart. And 9 times out of 10 it's not. And this collective, it was never that. This was meant to activate your path in the world. Okay, so maybe there's a reason I was also bringing up family and friendships. Maybe before this connection, estranged from family, didn't have many friends. It's like your main focus emotionally, but again, unaware that it was about, it's time for me to ground in my life. It's time for me to find myself and tap into my authentic blueprint and share my sparkle with the world. I no longer should be a hidden gem. I'm ready for my polish. I'm ready to become that diamond. But this was all subconscious. You didn't know this. This was what was getting activated in you. One more. Health, mental anxiety. You probably grew up thinking you had ADHD, bipolar, this, that. I always say truly gifted people, you read energy. So your energy is up and down until you activate into your birthright and you start relieving all of that energy through your healing messages, your channeling, your Reiki, whatever you delve into. Once you really start servicing the people around you, because that's your job here, putting sparkle into people, you start to realize, shit, I never had ADHD. I didn't have bipolar. I didn't have any of that. I was just gifted. My whole life I've been reading energy. My whole life I've been up and down because I wasn't relaying, I wasn't transmuting, I wasn't healing the emotion I was feeling. I talk about this all the time. Yes, we start off as empaths, but it's learned to transition into being a healer. Okay. mental health was a weight for you. You didn't know it because you were self-unaware, but you knew you could trigger into a place you didn't like, but I don't think you ever thought that would heal. I think you just thought that's who you were. Okay. And side note, I have to say this because it came to my mind, health, you could have really been into fitness. I'm going to say it came to my mind, but maybe your emotion and a focus of yours, especially if you were quite, I'm not going to say shallow, but this collective, I really do think subconsciously the acceptance and appreciation and validation from others was a thing for you. It's like your soul needed it, if you knew it or not, especially if you grew up being bullied, okay, or a bit overweight or underweight, whatever it is. It's the reason I'm hearing fitness for that as well. Okay, so that was you when you met this person. Okay, now I want to see who you've developed to be. Hold on, I just want one more. But who you were. Two. So you've got the tower, and you've got, so even then you had magic within you, but I don't think you had completely tapped into yourself. Again, you were open to the divine frequency, but I think you were so used to standing alone. I think, again, like I said before, I feel this collective, you had to grow up at a very young age. I think you grew up with, I'm seeing such an independent kind of person, but maybe that independence you weren't thriving in. But when it came to companionship, I just feel, I'm not saying you didn't have relationships, but I'm just not seeing this collective had a lot of people around them, the lifelong friends, the connection to family. I just feel you've kind of always stood alone. Does that make sense? Even in like you could have felt like you were so in love in past relationships, but I don't think you ever felt understood. And it's funny, this polar opposite. This is about the governments, the institutions, the programming. So you were still really locked into the subconscious programming of the 85%, even though you had this magical, powerful mystery, all of this, your observant nature for a reason, signs around you all the time. You weren't seeing it. You were still conformed, okay, but it was always brewing under the surface. Another big tick for true divines, just saying. But you were on a crossroads and you didn't even know it. Okay, and whip energy. Oh my god, I turned the deck around. You're not going to believe this. Whip and twin flame, rider full steam ahead, but this is what it was meant to do. I can't believe that happened. But you were an argumentative person. You didn't bow down from a fight. Maybe you were a little bit abusive. Always repeating things again and again. You would snap quite quickly. There was a lot of anger in you and your life was on repeat. And then this happened and you started breaking the shackles. You're divine. Wow. Okay. Let's get you now. So who have you turned into now, currently? Oh, I'm going to get that out. Oh, that's good. Oh my gosh. So we've got 5 of Wands in reverse, King of Wands, Queen of Cups. That reminds me of that buffalo energy in the right way, and then, but you're forever changing. Okay, so right now, 5 of Wands in reverse, you know how to create harmony, you know how to resolve situations in a peaceful way, you find solutions instead of creating more conflict, you understand how to find common ground, which means you have a lot of awareness over people and their traumas. I think you're not the most judgmental person. Maybe you were quite judgmental and condemning in the past. I did feel you were quite forgiving, but a life of constantly forgiving. Remember I said I think you used to give people the benefit of the doubt and it altered. I think you're starting to find that understanding again for people. But I always say that King of Wands, he is a fighter. He's a conqueror. He conquers the world. He's honorable and to what balance you have in your masculine feminine energy now is beautiful. You have the power and action buffalo energy, but your psychic abilities, your intuition, she's the most emotional in all this whole deck. Okay, you're emotionally connected. You've understood and starting to understand more about being in flow. Okay, your empathy you've learnt to be a healer. You've learnt not to just read a room, but how to transmute. Love. And from such a broken heart, you still ooze love. You've learnt to trust in the unknown. You've learnt to put 2 feet in the door and have blind faith. Do you sometimes question it? Yes. But do you still do it? Yes. I just see an unwavering connection to up above. I think you trust in your potential. I think when you're in balance, you're quite carefree of what comes next. And remember, one of your past burdens, you were so holding on to what you had to have such control of outcome. Without control, it would make you feel unsafe if you knew it or not. You've learned to relinquish control, and this is good, not just to see, it's to show you how far you've come, because I always say it's such a slow journey. It's that literally tortoise and hare. It's just small steps, big accomplishments. Without periodic assessment, sometimes we fail to see the true evolution. This is magical. You've learnt to stand in your free thinking mind. You're an entrepreneur of some sort. So the right collective, you've activated your mission work, your service, your passion, you're a visionary. And we've progressed from Knight of Wands, impulsive passion, to King of Wands. He gets things done. He's not a flake. He's consistent. He's a conqueror, right? He's honorable. So we've had the progression of your Knight of Wands energy. Beautiful. But you're more spontaneous. You're not an avid planner. You let things come now. But I think they're showing you're still progressing every day, every month. There's something new that's coming in, more emotional awareness, more evolution. And I don't know if you've heard me speak about this. Some people get activated, but they lack the progression. Sometimes, and you see it in our community, the spiritual arrogance, people get activated and think they know all the answers, and they don't develop, they don't overcome, they don't learn from others, they don't develop their craft, so they get stuck. For this to be here, it shows you are still progressing, you are still evolving, so you're handling this journey the right way. Am I saying you don't get overwhelmed sometimes? No, look at what you had to break free from. But boy, oh boy, are things still germinating, that you never give up. So you've learned to harness that buffalo energy in the right. Remember, you chose your vessel, a vessel that would ooze blood of fire and steel for a reason. But now you direct that fire in the right way. But you're always setting new intentions. I think you've gone through so many cycles here, and biggest thing, don't be hard on yourself. I don't know if at the moment you are feeling a bit blocked, or you're feeling like you're not evolving, or this is beautiful. This is beautiful. But let's get a couple more. Oh, that's where it is. Sometimes you do still, sometimes the right collective, you do still stress a little bit about lack of effort. You might be feeling a little bit bogged down. You might be feeling stagnant. You might be feeling like some things aren't worth it currently, but this is clearly a hurdle you need to overcome. But the right collective, because you have relinquished control, and I do think in the core of you, you do have blind faith. When this comes up, it doesn't last for very long and you snap yourself out, but this is clearly a pivotal lesson they're wanting you to learn right now. Remember, 7 of coins, it's not there, but it takes some patience. It's like an ace of coins. It's germinating, okay? It's growing, right? So things that are worth having take a very long time to achieve. Things that come in straight away, that instant gratitude kind of, not worth it. So those moments you're feeling stuck, those moments you're feeling that you're maybe taking a few steps back, have more belief and understand you're just germinating some beautiful seeds right now. Okay, let's get one more for this. literally, especially with your career. So 8 of Coins in reverse, it might be feeling mundane. It might be feeling like, is this really what I need to do? And we say that 8 of Pentacles, it needs so much consistency because we're becoming a master. To become a master, it takes time. And we say we start as the student and then we become the teacher. But that teacher is destined to become a master. But it's a progressional journey, okay? Relearning life. But this is your block right now, this collective. Look at this. Boring, scattered, all work, no play, repetitive, not delivering. Is this even worth it? Why do I keep doing this? I'm not moving forward. Boy, oh boy, are you moving forward. Where it matters. This is what matters. The emotional blocks, the evolution. So what am I going to say? What's this outlook? Society. Your programming. What? Because it's not moving to the time that society deems to be acceptable. You've got that buffalo energy for a reason. They're teaching you more patience. This was a big block for you in the past, this collective, your lack of patience. So if that's one of the biggest things that hold you back, they're needing you to really learn and understand blind faith and patience, and evolution of the soul takes time. If that was one of your biggest lessons, you can't just have everything because you want it. That's not life, not ego's timing, it's divine's timing. Of course, this is going to be one of your most valuable lessons, and so many times you need to burn to learn this. So this main collective, for these two here, it's not that you're not doing the right thing. They're teaching you a lesson. Okay, more blind faith. We're just germinating. You've seen this. They're changing your Knight of Wands to King of Wands. King of Wands doesn't give up. All right. Biggest trigger point still is, again, no movement. Doesn't matter. You are moving greatly. All right, let's get you an animal card. Okay, let's see what animal energy you're sitting in currently. Oh! Holy moly, you just got the snake and the unit. Keep believing. Just because you can't see it, it's not real. Okay? And you got the snake here. You're only a quarter tapped into your potential. Only a quarter. It's not just intertwining your serpents, remember that. It's finding your dragons. Hold on, let's read this. That is magical. I just heard keep believing. Okay. Stay firm in your blind faith. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not real. This card for me just depicts the journey of the twin flame perfectly. You can't see that magical red thread. You can't see that you're pulling them up through energy work. Doesn't mean it's not real. It's crazy. Guardian of the unawakened magic and creative potential. The snake is a symbol of our highest potential. It is said that the Shakti, our creative life force, lies dormant at the base of our spine. That's what the Kundalini is, the intertwining, the awakening of the serpents, in a form of a coiled snake. Regardless of whether this image rings true, it's well worth considering that the amount of unawakened or untapped potential you have within you. What would life look like if you woke it up? How could you stir it up from its slumber? They're wanting you. There's just a little bit more that needs to be. We need to get you out of this. Who cares about this? It's holding you back. How can you stir it up from its slumber and experience? I don't believe it can be activated through yoga. True activation comes from up above. You were chosen for activation. You chose your vessel for activation at whatever point you would be activated. Okay. But when in balance, prosperous, creative, and charismatic. When out of balance, starts and stops many things. That Knight of Wands. If you're on the verge of giving something up right now, don't you dare. Because this is something that... I'm just here for advice. Sorry, I sounded like a mum there. And this collective working on rebelliousness. It's like you need... what is it? What's it? Reverse psychology. I shouldn't have said that. There's something here. You can't give up right now. Okay? I feel this collective, you're feeling very creatively stuck, but you're not. Oh, hold on, let me find this unicorn. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but just the part that matters. Reconnecting to your higher wisdom and divinity. So you're very connected right now. So if you're thinking you're creatively blocked or not connected, you are. And I always say, as soon as you feel blank in the mind, you're ascending. You need to go blank in the mind because you're reprogramming that step, right? So whenever there's an ascension, a rebirth taking place, there is this lack of creativity and stuck energy that comes, okay? It's difficult to see, hear, or think of a unicorn without immediately questioning if it's real. So right now you're going through a stage of maybe questioning what is real and what isn't. Is this divine? Whatever it may be. You don't need to. Perhaps long ago, the mind answered maybe, or it could be, or blah, blah, blah. Pretty much right now, you need to keep trusting in your blind faith is what I'm hearing. Your psychic gifts are off tap right now, but because it feels a bit stuck and progression in life, you're starting to question, which is activating a trauma, if you believe it or not, the need of instant gratification, control, tangible evidence of what comes next. Otherwise, I'm crazy. You're healing this, okay? So, of course, they're going to keep activating it into you till they see that you've really walked through that fire, all right? And just side note, we've got something here within the next month, I think, that will be illuminated, but we'll get into that for future. Hold on, I just want to get one of these quickly from the universe for you right now. Oh, track through your glow. Just trust that unicorn energy. Keep glowing. This is finding you at just the right time, okay? So there's always such a deeper meaning to readings. It's not just, this is about keeping belief, I feel. Now that I'm reading it for the right collective, you're meant to feel stuck. They're testing you. All right, I want to see what emotion... Let go, bury the past. Put that to rest. I just want to see what emotion they want you to work on right now, focus on. Adversity. So you still, believe it or not, the right collective, and you've got to ask yourself, are you still concerned about the opinions of others? Are you not showing the world the real you? This is a big and patience you need to work on. This collective patience, and I said it, is one of your biggest life lessons, okay? You are still, in the nicest way, there is something still about your Queen of Pentacles in reverse energy. It's not here, but it's still being activated a little bit. So especially when it comes to mission work, and I bring this up a lot, especially people that branch out on social media, do not be ashamed of your voice. Do not feel like you have to conform to other people's. Remember, you're meant to break the mold, not conform to the mold. There is something here, this right collective, adversity, opinions, the comment section, whatever it may be. They're wanting you to work on still thinking you need to please others, which means if you are still bound to some form of adversity, grievance, you still, unfortunately, especially when it'll come to love, and you might not know this just yet, you will still prioritize your partner's needs and wants before yours, because of the backlash, okay? Or the fear that they'll go away again, or this or that. I know that sounds like, but every puzzle piece leads to the next. And they're wanting you to work on patience. So because they know you're still a bit impatient, they're going to keep making you feel stuck, right? Until they really see in your energy. Remember the candle work, they read energy, not words. Till your energy shows you've relieved expectation and you truly, blind faith, stepping into the unknown, you've completely surrendered to the divine and to your timing, not your ego's timing, it's divine's timing. Okay, actually, let's get you a surrender card quickly. So patience and opinions of others right now is something, this collective energy they want you to focus on. Oh my God, surrender to divine timing. Stop it. Sorry, magic. You're magic. Sometimes divine timing may differ from your ego's timing. If a goal isn't manifesting fast enough, according to your ego, be patient and trust in the universal flow. Divine timing, not ego's timing. Huge confirmation. Look at how many cards. That is a confirmation. Okay, now let's see quickly. Just this. that whip energy wanted to come out. Hopefully your current, please universe. They're purposely making things stuck right now for this collective. Yours is about patience. If you're wondering why things are stuck because you're still too concerned on your Oh my God! Sorry. You got the Swan card right. There's a reason we're doing everything. And your loyalty, your dependability. Okay. So things are stuck for a moment for a reason. Okay, we need a little bit more practicality. We need a little bit more grounding. Okay, there's something here. There's something about duty. You got 2 cards of dependable. Just because it's tangible, it doesn't mean it's not real. Unicorn energy, soulmate, twin flame, the one, a pair of things, deep soul connection is brewing in both of you right now. Okay, bigger lessons than just external union, internal union. This is going to help you come into internal union a lot quicker, yin and yang, which then in turn, what eventually will lead to external. Okay, your internal, what's keeping you off balance, your timing, ego's timing. They are going to keep making things stuck till you truly surrender to time. Okay, of course you're supportive, you're loyal, you're dependable. You could be having some things going on with your pets right now energetically. I always say as we're shifting, our pets are either completely on top of us or they stay away from us, or you could be wanting a pet. But dependable. Just keep blind faith. Blind faith is needed right now. They will keep this stuck in all areas of your life till they see you truly surrender through your glow, through your frequency. Okay, that's really nice. All right, I want to quickly tap into what you're preparing for your future. And then I think this is, oh my God, and you got the stalk at the bottom. Transformation, change, renew, removing the restlessness. You could be moving soon as well, pregnancy, birth. I've actually gone for a different deck for your future self. This is in my top 5. I've repurchased this 3 times now. I just keep wearing them out. It's one of my favorites. The Witch's Tarot, or the Witch's Way. Okay, future self. That was Temperance that wanted to flip. Good, because that's one of your biggest lessons. Oh, very nice. Okay, so we've got devil energy, but with world energy closing that out. But we will forever have certain shadow that we need to work on. But you're really setting up for certain achievement and success. Learning how to really approach... Oh my God, Emperor. Learning how to really approach your shadow energy with a different outlook, a different approach. And this is also why this journey takes years. There's no good or bad emotion. All emotion evolves us. It's learning how to feel that shadow and walk through it without it completely overwhelming us and making us feel like we're taking 10 steps back. You're still developing this with you about timing. Okay. Yes, we know this is a divine collective, so of course we're making room for your divine, but it's your empire, is what I'm saying. I feel you're about to have a lot of success, recognition. Very powerful cycles are going to approach you very soon, especially with this 3 of Pentacles. 3 of Pentacles is 3 different masters coming together in synergy and making one beautiful masterpiece. You were meant to develop your mind so you could resonate with so many, not just a niche of people. Okay, I'm seeing this as being able to, it's kind of that 85%, we talk about it all the time. When you guys first activate, it's such a manic kind of energy and it's very woo-woo-woo. I'm sure you've even heard me say, if you're not divine, you're not going to understand this. Your job here is to really have that beautiful balance of spirituality and practicality, because without that balance, you've got no hope in changing the 85%, right? Even the 10%. Maybe there's this collective specifically, you're that powerful, you can start even really trickling in information for the 10%, okay? Remember, you are the 5%. That's how I'm seeing this. Something in your future... You're clearly very powerful when it comes to your mind. I'm seeing my fox. I'm seeing that teacher. There's something here. The way you teach is undeniable. There's something so powerful in the Creator's plan for you that I don't even think you see. I'm literally seeing that as what we always talk about. Something you're meant to bring into synergy around you. You've been having to develop your craft, and it takes a long time. We deal with people's hearts. I always say we're spiritual healers. We might not be, you know, modern day therapist, psychiatrist, but you deal with people's vulnerabilities. I think there's something planned for your future you're not even aware of. You're really here to break the mold that all divines are, but it starts with your empire, okay? But there is things even in your future. We'll forever be combating our shadow. It's how we deal with our shadow. Two of Cups. Collaborations. Yes, soul tie, your duality. But collaborations, I think you're meant to join forces with someone in your future, especially with this Three of Pentacles. But true divines, you guys end up being power couples for the world in some way or form, okay? And I'm seeing, as soon as I said collaborations, your person came to my mind. So, of course, other collaborations along the way, but I really do think this collective, you've got power couple vibe oozing all through you. Okay, one more. Holy moly, there's that Eight of Wands. This isn't far. I give this within 6 months, you've got something, and that's a lot more rapidly moving. I think in 6 months there's something there's a reason I hear everything. Or it could be the month of June. Your whole life will come into alignment. You're going to have so many directions, you're not going to know what one to go. Okay? This is a card of good news, rapid movement, alignment, things really taking off. And I've put that where the Emperor is, so your empire and your connection. Okay. Queen of Swords in reverse. Stop being too critical on your path and how far and time and da-da-da. This is powerful, very powerful. Actually, I just want one more quickly. Sorry. One more for Eight of Wands. Travel could really be on the cards for you as well. It's just stuck. It's in limbo, so it's not there. There's certain self-sacrifices, self-reflection to make him unstuck. Hangman, it's there. It's hanging. But, and I take it down, the ego's timing, the bog down, the big blocks that you're going through right now, your shadow's really being activated for true surrender, true belief, true blind faith. It's already in you, but you just come in and out a little bit because of timing, okay? It's not there. We hold our timeline back, not our creator. They don't work against us, they work for us. They want this to be permanent, so they're waiting for your frequency, your glow, to be ready for it. And then you get your breakthrough, then you get your balance, then you get your epiphany. Magic. Okay. What energy is needed for your future path? What energy is needed for your future path? What energy do you need to embody for your future path? What energy do you need to embody for your future path? Oh, your complete your backbone. So that's where the adversity comes. Oh my God, that's why you're on you need to work on your backbone right now, the right collective. You need to show the world the real you. You can't keep conforming. I don't think you do think you conform. You're meant to break the mold. You're meant to put a spell on other people. You cannot do that if you're conformed. There's something about your adversity is a big one for this right collective, and it'll affect you in all areas of your life. And I always say this about social media. You guys want overnight success, but you can't deal with hate comments, or you get very triggered, always checking your likes, always wanting virality, always this, always that, always consumed, right? You're consumed. That means you're not ready. And if you get a negative comment and it overwhelms you and it tears you down, how are you going to deal with the world being truly global on a large spectrum? They're building your backbone, they're building your strength because you need it for your next step. All energy points in alignment, okay? you need to be aligned. You need to understand your shadow and not let your shadow overwhelm you. You're here to captivate. You're here to hypnotize others. You're here to change other people's outlook. That makes so much sense with your current. So until you currently get through this, hopefully this gives you what you need to focus on, this collective, this reading. I put a spell on you. Beautiful, alluring, but superficial or shallow. That's what you have to remove with that Queen of Pentacles in reverse. The need of others' approvals. The starfish is a natural and exquisite beauty, mesmerizing to all. Magnetizing. Being around someone with the starfish energy is a thrill, like you've been put under a spell of divinity itself. I don't want to say the problem is, because this is what you need to be. So, actually, I should read all of this. The problem is the creature has been reliant on how they look or what other people think of them. You can't have that. You can't have that. For so long that they may have forgotten their deeper calling. When this card appears, it's important to ask, am I being swayed by the outward appearance? What dreams have I put aside to please others? When you're in balance, uplifting, artistic, expressive, the right expression, the fox energy. But when you're out of balance, gossip, or you feel empty. I think it more aligns with, for what comes next. If you're too concerned about how others perceive you and this and that, you're not going to soar the way you need to. So you need to work on that currently. Okay. Just saying. You were born to hypnotize. You were born with your influential glow for a reason. You were hidden for a reason. You're becoming a diamond for a reason. I said this the other day. There's not one person in this world that is loved by all. Not one. Nothing or no one will ever be perfect. You're a spiritual protector. You are the spiritual panther. The only thing that matters is your line to source. And believe that you will always be guided and protected. Just saying. The peacock! That's, oh my God, you're not going to believe this with the fox. This became one of my favorite cards the other day when we read it. I'm going to read it to you guys. This is what you're going to embody in your future. Holy moly. Hold on. Inner beauty, compassion, the assimilator of anything. The beauty of the peacock is what is with this collective and your beauty? Because you got the starfish as well. It's easy to think that this comes from the plumage, but the secret of the peacock is that the beauty resides from within as well. So you're not just beautiful on the outside, it's the inside. Your internal glow makes your external glow even more. You could be quite a different kind of pretty, but your inner soul just makes you shine so much. Resides within and extends outward indefinitely. The adept creature can assimilate or digest all experiences in life, and this is what you need to get through now. So it does not harbor resentment and have understanding of everybody's trauma and hurt people, conflict or past pain within the psyche. The peacock type is extremely rare. Not many of us has reached this advanced level of acceptance of self and others. You're confident, kind. When out of balance, can't digest situations. You get anxious, especially over adversity. This is what you need to embody for your future path. So start working on your backbone. Boundaries. Okay. That's very nice. Okay. Okay. Oh. You're going to be standing in your inner truth. Everything you've put into place finally creates success through your dragon blood. But you're always going to be called to take more action in life. You're about to quantum jump to I don't want to say a different timeline. I'm going to say you're about to accelerate on your timeline. I think this collective, you're already connected to your abundant timeline. Holy moly, an unknown gift is going to activate. And I felt that with this. You don't see it yet. There's something they're not even showing me. You're not meant to see it. I could feel it, but it's like they're not giving me anything. It's meant to be a surprise. This is meant to be something that I think you and your partner explore together and activates a completely new path. And that's why I say I don't think you're timeline jumping. I think you're accelerating. It's a chapter you do not see, but you're not meant to. You might think you're completely, I'm ready, nope. The universe's plan is, I'm hearing it, it's going to blow you away. Trust your pause right now. Trust them. Again, energy like this can change the world. Remember that. Be patient. Oh, very nice. Okay, I just want to get you a quick universal card. Then we're going to have a little intermission so I can charge my phone, and then we'll really tackle into your person, because my angels, this has gone for a long time. You're not going to believe this, literally confirming. So yes, a leap of faith. Yes, it's going to come. Don't you worry. But a change in direction. You might think, and I always talk about this. Chew. Oh, they normally come in pairs. And in threes. Your luck will change in threes. I just heard this. I see this a lot. You guys think you're so, I'm this, I'm that. And when it deviates, it just blows. You're just learning tools of the trade. Remember, you're a teacher right now. You're developing into a master. So, of course, your journey's going to change a bit. Okay? Just saying. Ow! And, of course, more progression of the mind, but seeing through, secrets lifted. I'm just hearing more of a surprise with that. Okay? Exploring the unknown. Again, another card of being observant and wise. There's something here you do not see. You do not see, and that's beautiful. Lovers in your soul contract. Stop it. This says timing within the next 4 to 8 weeks. There's a reason I was hearing 6 months or June. Okay. But it's in your soul contract. It's to do with duality. It's to do with your inner soul. You're going to be like, oh my God, it all makes sense. Light bulb. But that was beautiful. Okay, so that's you, past, present, future. Like I said, I'm just going to cleanse out all these decks because I want to use the same decks for your person while I'm charging a little bit my phone, so we can really get into your person the way we did with you. So for you, it's going to feel like a millisecond. For me, it's just going to take me 10-15 minutes and I'll be back. All right, there's a reason I said 10-15. 15th to the 10th could be a birthday or a memory. Love yous. All right, we're back. Now, I just realized how long this reading's going to go for, but hopefully this is like a little bedtime movie. All right, so your person. So now let's do the same structure for them. So who they were when they met you. Who was your person? This person. Oh, wow. Okay. So, Star in reverse. 7 of Pentacles. Knight of Cups in reverse. Okay. 8 of Swords in reverse. I think when you met your person, unfortunately, they always had star potential in them, but they were lacking direction in life. They had a lot of lack of faith in the world around them. They were feeling quite hopeless when they met you. They were feeling quite stuck in life. They actually might have come out from quite a negative environment that created a lot of despair for them. I think your person was a little bit of a heartbreaker. They were prone to manipulation. Unfortunately, they had faced so much disappointment in their life, and I'm hearing rejection and pain that unfortunately external trauma rubbed off on them, and they were someone that were prone to really revoke things that they would say. So let this person, you know, offered you the world and then quite quickly took it back. It's something that unfortunately they themselves had to face. I think your person met you from a place of always feeling like an option or a second best to someone. without them knowing. They were really germinating in life. They were really growing. This is reminding me of kind of a younger energy. Did they know it at that time? No. I don't think this person realized how stuck they were in life. I don't think they realized that they were still ripening with age, ripening through life experience. I think your person, unfortunately, was met with quite a bit of trauma. I'm not saying you weren't, but they handled their trauma differently. They were in this place, I need to take my power back, which means they had kind of lost their power in other situations before you. They were kind of, this is my life. Sign. I think they might have come out of a very severe heartbreak. I don't know if they opened up to this about you, but they were in the mode of escape. They were trying to escape reality. They were trying to escape their pain. They were trying to conquer their self-doubt in life, which means they had quite a few insecurities when you met them. They were really in the power. They were really in this mode. This is my life. This is my life. So let them, if they were subconsciously put into a situation where they felt like their control was being relinquished, or their independence was taken away, or they weren't in their free will, this was really a trigger point for them, but they didn't know it at that time. But it was because of all the pain they had gone through. You met this person in a very broken state, but because they were this conquering self-doubt, they would have presented as the most confident person in the world, but their poor soul was just riddled with so much trauma and lack of life experience, is what I'm hearing. I want one more, please. Yeah. So even though they were trying to conquer self-doubt, they were riddled with self-doubt. They were inadequate. They self-doubt, weakness, low self-esteem, extremely vulnerable. They were extremely broken. But again, because they had this bravado, they had this, I don't even think they realized how low their self-esteem was. And this comes from when we feel like an option and constantly in life, just how you yourself broken. And I feel, even when I'm looking back on your energy, I feel this collective, you had more experience. Maybe you actually faced more trauma, but it's like your vessel, that bison energy, that buffalo energy, you got accustomed to dealing with pain. You dealt with pain differently. Okay. Sad. Okay, let's see what animal they were when you met them. Oh, mouse. So absolute security and illusion. They felt things should have been like this, that, this, that, this, that. They could have been quite a frantic person as well. Quite anxious is what I'm hearing. Grass is greener. What comes next in life? Always wanting more, 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 more. But they glowed. They were full of vibrancy. They were charismatic. They could have really lit up a room. But this moth energy, I think it depicts... I was sitting on that. I completely crumpled that. Again, this is another deck I've got multiple of, though. I've got a better book. Moth. Impulsive, hasty, but wishful. The moth is sure that the grass is greener on the other side. Nothing was ever good enough. Moth energy is at play when we are attracted to easy solution. They weren't ready to put in effort for things. As soon as they were faced with conflict and challenges, they were so used to things falling apart that they had become accustomed through trauma to make sure it falls apart first. At least I've got control then. Okay. It's like any kind of challenge internally, subconsciously, this is going to fall apart. I better cut and run. This can lead to unfinished projects, disappointments, and burnout. It's helpful to remind the moth personality that life is complex, and that's what makes me think this person lacked life experience, because they were so confronted by challenges. They were so kind of the be-all and end-all. A little they would make a mountain out of a molehill, because for them they didn't know how to deal with it. No one is exempt from the trails and the tribulations of this great journey. They didn't really know that life is full of ups and downs. Again, absolute security. Love should be like this. A job should be like this. Subconscious programming. So whenever there was anything going against the grain of the absolute security, because it's an illusion, it would make them frantic inside, if they knew it or not. Subconscious programming. Practicing life as an infinite mystery rather than wishing it was easier. Victim mentality. Poor me, poor my, why this, why that, but they were enthusiastic, when in balance, whimsical, ethereal, out of balance, idolizing others. So maybe they idolized you and compared to you, and that would have created conflict as well. Okay, kept you on a pedestal, jittery, anxious, overwhelmed. But they always had the glow within. They always had the zebra energy within. Hold on, let me find that. Maybe they were a little bit different to most. Eccentric, creative, but a visionary. Zebras are the most precious of gems. They are young at heart, and that's what I felt. I felt a very young energy. I wouldn't say well cultured, but they have a curiosity for life. Maybe especially if you were developing your spiritual path, they were curious about it, because they always say they're attracted to that within you, but they're running away from their Hierophant High Priestess at that point. So what was once intriguing became confronting. Being in the company of a zebra's personality is not only a delight, but it opens our mind. So this person opened your mind. Be prepared for their potent magic. This person, without them, they wouldn't have activated your potent magic. You activated it in each other. Is contagious, and you soon find yourself in a faraway land, expanding your worldwide view and having a blast. So they activated your inner child, that otter energy. Zebras also like to contribute to global health environment. So you would have seen this person was very sensitive, really, I wouldn't say well cultured, but the world was something that maybe they spoke about or noticed, maybe not to the extent, but I do think that this person really had empathy for worldly matter, and maybe more the broken bird. I don't think they were a judgmental person. Okay, when in balance, worldly, enthusiastic, fashion forward. Maybe they were quite fashionable, a little bit materialistic, but when out of balance, jaded, pouty, and vain. All right, what was their emotional lesson at this time? What were they fixating when it came to emotion? Hold on, where did that go? Sorry. So their imagination got the best of them, the Page of Cups. Their imagination would run wild, okay? Always expecting the worst is what I'm hearing. And indecision, maybe they were very indecisive but focused on abundance, focused on pentacles. Maybe you didn't know this. Maybe you made more money. If they were idolizing you, right, and their focus when they met you was success and wealth, especially with that materialistic kind of energy and their imagination, they themselves, just like you, were conformed to the subconscious programming that we were taught. It was not about deep soul discovery when they met you. It was, where am I going to be in life? And their imagination, absolute security, would get the best of them. Okay. What was their focus when they... Death. They were going through a rebirth, and you didn't know, and you can see it with this. They were going through a death period, agony. But they were ruled by passion and the sexual chemistry with you guys. Passion, chemistry, lust. They were ruled by the lust of the connection. So when they met you, even though they were broken, they were so blinded by the whirlwind. But they were in the process of a very painful chapter. Okay, I don't think you were aware of this. I don't think this collective, because of the way they presented, the way they covered their true emotion, they were feeling hopeless. They had lack of inspiration in their life. And they could be 13, that could be an important number, 30. You literally met this person just like they met you. You were both transitioning, but neither of you knew. Neither of you knew. Internally, with it, what, like, you didn't know in yourself, they didn't know in themselves, and you definitely didn't see it in one another. okay, which again really reminds me of, you might have been developing, but you guys weren't activated into the depth of healing when you met each other, okay? All right, let's see where they are now, currently. Current time, how are they now? How are they currently? How are they? That's Six of Cups, so they are going through traumas right now. They're going through childhood things right now. They could be going, wow, they could be going through sacral purging right now. So a lot of things coming from childhood. So if you guys are really connected, maybe you yourself are going through things from childhood right now. Let it be family grievances or things are coming back around. Beautiful. This, okay, good. So we got Two of Wands. 9 of Coins, 4 of Cups in reverse. 4 of Swords, going within healing. This is good, going within healing. I always say 3 of Swords is heartache, 4 of Swords is mind ache, evolution. We retreat from the world to heal. And once the 3 Swords. So in traditional tarot, not that anyway, another deviation that's not relevant for this reading, but in traditional tarot, he's on a tomb, swords over his mind, one underneath him. I see it as the Ace of Swords. And once those swords raise, that Ace of Swords goes up his behind, and gosh, does he run, okay? Big breakthrough. But they're isolated right now. They're going within, they're resting, they're taking a break, they're healing, okay? They're re-collaborating, they're reconciling past grievances. They're starting to activate more gratitude for this world. They're starting to understand, I need to seize the day. I need to stand up for what I deserve. I'm working too hard for free. I'm undervaluing myself in my life. Why am I undervaluating myself? I still need to work on my self-worth. I want more. I want future planning. I'm ready for companionship. I'm ready to make prompt, decisive decisions. They're considering their options now. Look at the difference. Biggest thing for this person is finding their worth. And this is a focus for them. They're starting to reflect on their life and how they want so much more. They want to be happy. Six of Swords, they're learning to overcome hardship. They're learning to find peaceful resolutions within. They're learning to sail off from what keeps them barriered. They're going through conflict resolution right now. They're becoming stable. Okay, see the difference? There's a reason I'm doing this. We don't see the change. It doesn't matter. A true soul connection, you change through energy. You don't need to be in the same room. This is powerful. 2 of Cups, they're finding their internal duality. They're finding their balance. They're thinking of their soul. This is all bringing them closer to you. And I always say, true divine separation, you need to heal the external and internal that broke you apart. And you can see quite clearly when it comes to external, they're sick of the storm. When it comes to internal, they're wanting more peace. They're wanting happiness. They're re-engaging with life. So even though they're still healing the mind, even though they might feel isolated, they're overcoming hardship right now, which is preparing them for very important decisions to come. The work, but they're still a little bit stressed. But it's changing. Okay, they're going through a 444 moment. What animal are they right now? How are they shining right now? They are resting, gathering information, gathering power, not being impulsive. They're gathering their wisdom, waiting for the exact right moment. They're 4 of Swordsing right now. Oh my God! The butterfly, they're in the midst of an evolution. It's funny, this hyena, I don't know if you can see I know it's is it a waning gibbous, but I see it as the yin and yang. But maybe your person's a little bit of a joker. This is the card for me, the mask. They mask their emotions. So they're working through their mask, through their evolution, okay? They're finding their lion strength, their unstoppable strength. Your person has the exact same lesson of patience. They're breaking free from the shackles, the bravado, the ego with this hyena energy. Their butterfly energy is powerful right now. So yours would be too. You'd be feeling, even though you're feeling creatively stuck, they're lizarding. They're on the lizard journey. Humor, wit, and sarcasm. So this is what their mask. The hyena personality is a jokester, a crowd pleaser, just like you, the adversity. But below the surface, they have unfulfilled dreams to be realized. So what are they doing? Cracking into it. When the hyena, I need to value myself more. The hyena card appears. It's time to reflect on your own reliance on sarcasm and humor to express your truth. The mask. Are you using jokes to hide old resentments in relationships or to mask things that you feel uncomfortable discussing? What would happen if you took your goals seriously with this butterfly? So again, what was holding them back in the past, they're finally seeing, this is holding me back. I deserve so much more. I know my potential in life. Who did they learn their potential of? Who inspires them to grow? The first step is breaking through the veil of the mask. The things that we, which was a huge issue for you guys in the past. That is those two together, perfect. With this crocodile, they're not there. They want to be the best version of themselves before they approach. And that is powerful. What's their main focus of emotion right now? I'm feeling a painful emotion here. Freedom. So they're still, that was a big thing in the past. So right now in life, they clearly feel caged. So they're, and trust. Beautiful. So they're trusting. They have more trust than you, this collective. They're sick of their shackles. So for them to be sick of their shackles, they're being presented what shackles them in life. They want to balance. They want to balance. They want to be happier. Four of Cups in reverse. They're focusing on gratitude, seizing the day. I want something that I wake up to the morning and inspires me to be the best version of myself. I want a job that inspires me to be the best version of myself. A love that is fulfilling, not confining. I want to be in an environment that I feel resolve in my soul. Not that I'm constantly battling hardship and a storm. They're reevaluating their decisions. They're starting to understand everything happens for a reason. This is why you need more patience, because your person is working on their patience. You need more trust, just like them. I want one more. Main emotion they're trying to balance. Love and grief. I was feeling pain, so this is what they need to balance. The love and grief, bringing down the mask. Yes, it's uncomfortable to speak about, but it's a trauma that they've had. You may not understand someone's trauma and barriers because we are all different. Don't overgeneralize. But again, the universe works in mysterious ways. Without them overcoming grief and pain and embarrassment and shame and guilt and this, they'd never be able to balance this properly because they would always be wearing a mask of their depth over the depth of their vulnerability, which doesn't work in connections. They're going through pain, but the pain is evolving them. And they're wanting more out of life. So they're in mental agony right now, but it's all for a reason. It's making them close out powerful cycles through this magical month of March. This eclipse season is working magic on both of you. You need to trust. Okay, current emotion. Oh. Sorry. Oh, the owl seeing through the facade. So they're seeing. Okay, seeing through the facade, secrets lifted, insights. They're very observant, so they're watching. This is a crocodile. This person's lurking right now. So watch what you're posting, because I think this person, they're finding you for peace and solace without you even knowing. They want to explore the unknown. They want to know what's going on here. So they're getting a sense of urgency, but they know they're not ready because they want to be If abundance is a big focus for this person, was in the past, it would still be now. I know it didn't come out, but they want to be the best version of themselves, right? They want success. 9 of Coins in reverse. They haven't hit success yet, so they're reevaluating. Why am I in a situation that's not fulfilling me? I'm being undervalued, right? They know they have potential for so much more. Their fox behavior. I can't keep being deceitful and wearing my mask. Sleight of hand. Crafty, sly. If they're going over their fox behavior, their mask behavior, how do we learn lessons? By projection. So we get shown to make us self-aware people that have sly, cunning, fox behavior, right? So people in their life that need to be illuminated to see through the facade. That's what's happening right now. Make sense? Wow. So third energy, as we're saying it, so people around them in their life, influence, other people's influence, people taking away their freedom, they're seeing through the facade. They're in moose energy, independent. Attitude is everything, cool, calm and collected, confident, but I need to time alone, independent, solidarity. It's not that it's third person energetically love, I don't think, not with this kind of energy. It's more the karmic situations, job, family, friends, that they're starting to see through, how they get so easily influenced by others. One more. 18th of the 9th, 16th of the 9th, memory, birthday. That was new perspective there. Falcon, so that, whoa, rising above, ability, strategy, a transition, changes, higher self, third eye, far-reaching vision. One more. New beginnings. Sudden increase. This is about fertility and I want one more. 9th of the 1st, 1st of the 9th, 18th of the 2nd. Steady movement forward. So once they break free and start seeing steady movement forward, one way to go, going the distance, everything that they thought they couldn't, they can. So this is what they're currently going through right now. Gaining courage, standing up for themselves, breaking free from shackles that have kept them bound. This is completely polar opposite to who they once were, which makes me feel there's time here. There's been life experience gained. Does that make sense? You can see this person so firm in seeing lessons, which is beautiful. Powerful. Very powerful. All right, their future self. What are they preparing? Future self. We're going to get the same deck we used for you guys. Hold on, before we get that, I just want to get them a universal message for what they're going through currently. So it's in you. They're finding their inner strength. Okay, breakthrough. They're going through a breakthrough of the biggest thing, their mask. They're evolving. Patience, trust. Are they where they need to be just yet? No. But look at the baggage and burdens they need to remove. And this is why, again, you need to trust and focus on patience. Blind faith. All right. Their future. What are they preparing for? All right. What are they preparing for? Future. More ancestral. Oh, you got... I knew it. I knew this would mirror. So you guys, Empire Together, collaboration, the 3 of Pentacles, but Moon, more ancestral discovery, breaking free from the illusions, releasing anxiety and fear, stepping into their truth, their strength, their depth of intuition, their depth of knowing. Oh my God, the Hierophant. And I always say, anyone that watches me all the time on TikTok, I always say you want a Hierophant or you want your Emperor, King of Pentacles to return. They've got that balance of their 3D matter to spiritual matter, just like the Empress, the High Priestess, both divine feminines, but of the earthly and spiritual plane. Same with them. Ooh, Knight of Wands. I think that's the transition, but let's get one more. The Knight of Wands. Okay, I think they're learning. They have, so even in the future, and I always say when you guys come together, they're still healing. This 9 of Wands clearly leaves them in 9 of Wands. They get a lot of fires in their life because of this behavior. So just how you had that as a person right at the beginning, they will even face this as a future self. This is a life lesson they haven't just learned or not ready to learn just yet. Something about boundaries through this. Hold on. One more for that, please. Childhood trauma, 6. So they're having to learn from this. This is a thing from... This is probably... You always have barriers you need to overcome together. I think their Knight of Wands behavior can get them in a little bit of trouble. It leaves them feeling overwhelmed and wounded. And this is something that would need patience from you as well. I want one more for... Okay. There it is. So no longer in reverse but upright. So believing in miracles, the ancestral discovery, the universe. So even in... They still have to break free from the overwhelm. This person really gets riddled in illusion. Their imagination, I think, is something that always can really block them. And unfortunately, I feel your person, even in future, they've clearly got a lot of trauma to get through, because this is a very overwhelmed energy. But a really beautiful thing with 10 of Wands, once those wands drop through more ancestral discovery within, like this is beautiful, those wands will drop. They need a little bit more trust in the universe, this person, but they've got it here with the star. It is coming, but future self, very beautiful potential, but still some things that are going to need patience and understanding. Rebirth. They're rebirthing. So just how you met them, their future self, they're going to be entering that way again. So you're going to repeat, but will you have patience this time? Will you see? 13 is important here, because this is what they went through in the past. They have such high potential, but they need to believe in themselves. Remember that. One more. The World! Stop it. I think this person's going to... I think they left the page. They've been on their knight's journey. And the way they approach you is going to astound you. I think they're really going to present in the strength of an emperor, really leading the way. They've learned a lot of life lessons here. A lot of truth and balance, justice energy, purple curtain, the shadow that the whole reading's been about, that this person has really overcome. Okay, a lot of compassion, understanding, a lot of empathy. Then themselves have psychic qualities. Bringing down the mask. I heard the early bird gets a worm with that too. 7 of Swords is sometimes depicted very strategic, this, that. But he's very quick. He comes in before anyone else, right? Early bird gets a worm. Oh, that's 6 of Swords. Why did I say 7? They got that in their current. There's a reason I said 7. One more. I'm really going judgment energy. So another spiritual story, 4 of Wands. I was just waiting to, that's my 20 card, and marriage, commitment, foundation. I was wanting to see if that 2 of Cups came out, but 4 of Wands. I really do see you intertwining an empire here, but the biggest thing is the strength they're coming in. Is there still wounding? Yes. Will you need patience with one another? Yes. Is there 2 people more self-aware now of each other's trauma? Yes. Will there be more patience? You're learning it now. And it's funny, because I do think this person, I'm surprised 7 of Wands didn't come out, because I think this person stands in their strength in the future, and where you need to learn through your lessons right now about adversity and patience, you're getting patience fed into your thread from them, because they're in crocodile. They're being very patient right now, right? I know we've got that there, but they're healing that, and that's why they're working on that energy. Your energy right now, you need to focus on people pleasing, removing that wall. Not people pleasing, but standing in your truth, showing the world the real you, not being so worried about other people's opinions on your outlook on life or your direction, whatever it may be. So again, it's the energy ties. They're helping you through separation with patience. You're helping them. 7 of Wands. Stand standing up for what's right, standing up for themselves, not listening to everyone else, but getting to the top of their Mount Everest. Makes sense? Very beautiful. All right, let's get their animal energy. Horse, truly your person is going to be unstoppable just like you. Truths to tell. Finally speaking their truths. Not, oh my God, they got the divine messenger, the bird of divinity. Your person's special just like you. But they're scared of their truths, they're scared of their mind, they're scared of their soul, but they won't be in the future. They're finally going to break free from what they've been conformed to. The sea serpent. They have so much beauty within, but they need to believe that they have their eccentric, individualistic soul for a reason. They've tried to conform so much to the world around them. They're not meant to. They're meant to break the mold, just like you. They'll believe in their power. They'll believe with their inner energy. They'll believe in their connection to source. They will make their truths known instead of just circling. And this is why they have to work on their mask now and have their butterfly energy. Your person is a very wise old soul, just like you, here from the start of time. But they're becoming proud. Their future self, they're proud. They're proud of their truth, their inner individuality. Until they have their self-belief and self-worth, this is what keeps them trapped, and they find it. I can't believe you got the hawk here for them. They're very powerful. But they're finally not going to be afraid. She's beautiful. I wonder who they've learnt that off. And this is why you have to keep standing in your truth. Right, collective? Instead of always forcing the river, they're going to let it flow. I think they're going to realize their efforts create good luck. This reminds me of good and bad luck, the koi fish. I think their luck changes and they realize it because of their connection to source. Where they've always felt life's worked against them, they're going to start realizing life's always worked for me. This all happened for a reason. Instead of holding on to the pain, they're going to hold on to the transformation. You two together are a glowing light beam. This energy, your energy, combined could do something amazing. Like I said for you. The vulture, the lamb. So even though they have a gentleness, they have a striking message too. A message that stops people in their tracks. Your minds are meant to intertwine with knowledge, and this is why you have an unknown gift. You guys are going to develop something beautiful together. You might think you're on your path, you're not. They're a part of your puzzle pieces, you are them. The time away was needed. Attain to attain. They're going to be a different person, and you're going to be shocked. Immense growth, as we said it, a completely different person. They're finally bigger picture, which they need to. One thing I will say though, you need to prepare yourself. They still have that Knight of Wands energy that will activate, but again, you yourself will have energy you both need to overcome together to strengthen your foundation and bond. Nothing's ever perfect in life. Remember that. This person's breaking free from the absolute security. It's an illusion. So you guys will be tested with this. You'll be tested with hardship. You'll be tested with ignition. It's how you overcome it together. Full of gratitude, that Four of Cups in reverse. They're very connected to spirit. Beautiful. Which wasn't even near their energy when you first met them. They didn't even understand any of it. Oh my God, they got it. You got it too. You got the swan. They actually got the twin flame for their future. Balance. Stop. Very nice. their divine partner, balancing their yin and yang, just like you, and you balance. Oh my God, the eagle. New perspective, challenging the people around them, just like you do. That's why you have to adversity, longevity, regal, proud, clear vision, perspective of the past, present, and future. This can make me emotional. Doesn't matter what you do not see. It's what's happening in the rooms that you are not in. You just need to believe. They're powerful. The same divine light that shines through you shines through them. Release the fear. I'm going to rip off the band-aid here. Ripping off the band-aid, liberate. It's going to be short. It's going to be unexpected to them as well. I think this is the... But you both are going to have such an abundant life. That came out as I was saying approach. I don't know if you caught that. But they're going to balance wishes coming true. Okay. Remember, it's divine intervention that brings you guys close through energy. Remember, frequency, candle work, and your energies coming into alignment quite powerfully. Just because you can't see it, it's not happening. All right, let's just get you. I'm hearing that worth waiting for. Give your relationship a chance. Just be patient. All right. Heart-to-heart conversation is coming soon. Who cares when? Okay. Wedding, life partner, marriage, 4 of Wands is coming soon. Trust. Right now, turn to your team. Turn to your guidance. Turn to your soul tribe. And don't fixate on their return. Just believe in their return. Okay. This is the one. It's going to be worth the wait. You just need to trust. Let go of the control issues. It's your twin soul. Stay optimistic, right? Just be positive. Just trust this is your person. This is your life partner who cares about the time. Okay? Don't give up is what I'm hearing. That was beautiful. If you liked that style of reading, we've never done that before. I'm happy to do more collectives if you enjoyed that. Went a bit long, but star, the Venus star, fiery climax approaches quicker than you know. The lightning, this is my rapid movement. Trust, could come in on a beautiful storm. Your golden elixirs shining to one another and to our universe. So really focus on the things that need to be released, okay? BSJXM initial wise. Okay. And B and X came out again. BB. But trust that your completion will come when it's ready. Don't give up. Do not give up. Oh, and my balancing heart, confidence in your heart space and your healing journey. Because look at how far you're both coming. 11th of the 8th birthday memory, 11th of the 5th, 17th of the 5th, 17th of the 10th, 17th of the 1st, 171, 717. Another phone call. 543 here, and then you've got 4433. So consecutive numbers, 3rd of the 1st, 1st of the 3rd, 4th of the 3rd, 3rd of the 4th. All right, my loves, I love you guys. And have a beautiful day.